Robbie Buck and Alan Long are watching with us. First on today, Christopher Gillingham from Leamington in the UK. Hello, Commodore Charles Hart, Charlie Hart, Andrew Pindar. A up. Emmett's in Southampton, about to leave to go to Tokyo, Japan, or first thing tomorrow morning. Gordon Smith in Denmark, and many others. Jody Shields, yeah, he's among the first on. Welcome. Get the show on the road.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Do you see the theme of today's show? The subhead there on that title slide, on that cover slide? Look on your
Did it my way.
I did it my way. That's the theme. We're starting to have thematically driven shows here. My co-host is a theme in and of herself, Julie Vatican, Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club. My landlady, dear friend, welcome, Julie. I trust you're well.
Of course.
We are once again live from Studio B here at the Beach Street Yacht Club in San Francisco's beautiful Marina District. If the fog would ever lift, and we'd have summer again, but it's typical San Francisco summer weather.
55 degrees, hot.
And our natural air conditioner.
I know.
Welcome to show number 437 for Tuesday, the 13th of July. Are you feeling unlucky today?
No, it's
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Because it's the 13th, or Friday the 13th, but you don't have any problem with Tuesday.
Just a dick of whatever it is, phobia.
Yeah, whatever it is. I'm your host, Tom Ehman. Welcome to the show. I did it my way. And Julia, you like to say.
Yes, and one way to do it your way is to like, follow, and share, which is very important.
What a nice segue that was. Yeah, that helps us a lot. Also, your comments, as you all know, your regulars on here, most of you know that comments are always welcome, even in replay. We appreciate the support we get via Patreon. Become a patron, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Much appreciated. As we start with a Bravo Zulu. Big sporting weekend, wasn't it?
What?
Lots of stuff. There was bloody football, as you call it, most of the rest of the world. We call it soccer. And then there was tennis, and there were sailing events all over the world where they're not locked down. Sorry about what's going on in South Africa and in better part of the continent of Africa, and South America is in tough shape. The UK still in tough shape, and Australia in increasingly tough shape. I woke up this morning, Julia, to all the bad COVID news, and I texted Andrew McIrvin and Dr. British Surgeon Andrew Mr. Irvin said, I said, hey, is the news really bad, or did I have not just had any coffee yet? And he said, no, it's not a good look. But the good news is, of course, that hospitalizations, let alone death rates, are still way down because people are getting vaccinated, and those who get vaccinated and maybe have breakthrough COVID Delta variant are still pretty okay. Bravo Zulu to this guy. I mean, this was from Daniel Gruen, who followed it close. He's a big tennis fan. Daniel, one of our Fozy, of course, big Fozy in Augsburg in Germany, and he texted, we were watching this match, and he said, look at this. The Grand Slam count after Djokovic won, he said, they're now tied at 20 apiece. Federer 20, Nadal 20, and Djokovic 20 Grand Slam wins.
Wow.
And, of course, he's done most of that in the last just few years. Here he is with Jimmy Connor, with John McEnroe, who, of course, covers it for ESPN and others. And afterwards, McEnroe said he believes that Novak can win 25 career majors. And if John McEnroe's prediction is correct, there will likely be a clear winner in tennis's GOAT, debate. You know what GOAT is?
Yes, greatest of all time.
Exactly. And we all debate that. And he would clearly be the GOAT after Djokovic defeated seventh-seeded Matteo Berrettini in a great match. In the Wimbledon final on Sunday, the U.S. tennis great and seven-time Grand Slam champion said he believes the world number one has a few more majors left to win, as the 34-year-old veteran was playing better than he's ever played. I think, this quote's, of course, from McEnroe, I think he'll probably win at least 4 or 5 more, depending upon staying healthy. And, of course, the key to his success, as I was talking with Daniel Gruen and others, is it appears he's just fit. He's just a horse. And he's also arguably tennis's best defensive player ever.
Wow.
He always gets to the ball. He may not hit as many winners as some of the other players, but he always gets it back, and he gets it back in a position where he will then be able to return it again. And if it's a long rally, guess who wins?
Yes.
He just wears the other player down. So bravo Zulu to Novak Djokovic.
Would that we all had his strength and energy.
Well, exactly, and stamina and so on, and to say nothing of the skill. Look at these. This also from Daniel Gruen, an ESPN graphic that Daniel sent. Major titles: Djokovic 19, Federer and Nadal 15. This is in the last 10 years. He's won more major titles than the other two combined. Masters 1,000 titles, more Masters 31 to 29 than the other two, than Federer and Nadal. ATM Finals titles 4-1. Weeks ranked number 1, 328 to 159. Head-to-head wins against the other two, 55 to 22. That's
amazing.
My dear co-hostess. Are you a tennis fan?
Depending on what year it is.
Did you ever play?
Yes.
We played a lot, and I was never very good. Still am not, but I love it. And you see. You got to say, we like to think hockey is a sailing sport, but it's not. It's tennis and golf, probably tennis especially. And golf. But what a tremendous win that was. Likewise, in the other Copa America, people, up here in the Northern Hemisphere not following this so much, but down in South America, or in any number of our FOSI were following this closely. This is the South American soccer championship concurrent with the Euro Cup, the Euros, and the other Copa America, Argentina in Rio. Just like the Italians beat the Brits in Wembley in the UK, the home field advantage did not play out here either, as the Argentinians beat Brazil 1-0 in a fabulous match in Rio. Argentina won their first major title in 28 years on Saturday. This was the day before, actually. The Lionel Messi, of course, the star in the European UEFA, finally won his first medal in a blue and white shirt when Angel Di Maria goal gave them a 1-0 win over Brazil in a record equaling 15th Copa America. So bravo Zulu to them. I know Matthias Collins.
Yes.
Our FOSI, one of our FOSI, but our main FOSI down in Argentina. And then, of course, there was something else going on Sunday. And this is the best video I could find of that event during and after. Italians on the left, British on the right in the final penalty shot.
Penalty shots are so anticlimactic.
You think? A lot of people think it's wonderful.
I know.
It was just a little bit too much to ask.
Too much pressure at the end of the day. Too much pressure.
100%. Shame's not coming home. But we're not going home, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
The way they played, it was great, and then picking them to take penalties at the end was just, I don't get it. Really don't.
I've heard a few people say Southgate out. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's literally the worst thing that I've ever heard. This is the best England team that we've ever seen.
We've been alive
30 years.
Yeah, we've been alive.
Yeah.
sono stati bravissimi. Mancio sicuramente ha fatto la sua parte.
Grande, un'emozione così forte me la ricorderò per tutta la vita, sta troppo grande.
Ha vinto Iesi, ha vinto Mancini, ha vinto l'Italia. Forza Azzurri!
That courtesy of the BBC. Now, some of you are saying you're getting some audio. I'm listening to the audio coming off the stream computer going to Facebook, crackly audio. I don't hear it, and I'm listening to the audio as it leaves here.
Yeah.
Others are saying that it's smooth, but some of you reporting crackly audio. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I hear it. I hear it too.
I don't.
Well, on my mic, I heard it. I don't know what that's all about. But let's see if that helps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if it's my mic. Julia, count to 5 for us.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, maybe that has fixed it. Maybe we had a bit of crutonicism there for a minute. Hopefully. One can only hope. I get off that black slide. But now I have to ask you, tell me if that's better now, Baton Rouge and others. I got to ask right off okay, we're on soccer, not on sailing, but still, this is a global event. We're all watching. Many of us were. I have to ask, was that whole penalty shootout thing by the English coach, not the British coach, the English coach? This is an article from James Obley in ESPN, and the article says Gareth Southgate, the trainer, the manager for the English team, said he himself is to blame for England's penalty failure in Sunday's Euro 2020 final, rather than the 3 players who missed in the shootout. Italy won 3-2, as you all know, on spot kicks at the end of the nerve-shredding night at Wembley.
Indeed.
That finished 1-1 after extra time. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, and Bukayo Saka were all unable to convert their penalties as England's 55-year wait for an international trophy goes on. So there was a lot of criticism of the fact that he put in these guys to do the penalty kicks just at the very last minute, and it seemed to unnerve any number of people, including the players he put in. And there was a lot of criticism. Forget about the racial stuff. I don't want to get into that. I don't see any basis for any of that. That's madness. But to put a 19-year-old in as a penalty kicker, and he's done it, but never in a game like this. But a 19-year-old, that's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
On a young guy, and there was a lot of criticism, including apparently self-flagellation or criticism by Gareth Southgate. I ask you, was that move of putting in those players at the end to do specifically for the penalty kicks, as you would, I guess, but a 19-year-old, was it correct or crutonic? What saith all of you? Most of the players in the team are under 25, Emmett is saying. Always England's weakness when it goes to penalty shoots, Ted Ryman. Now, Ted Ryman told me that he was not going to watch the game because he always brings England bad luck. Of course, he's a Brit living down in Cape Town, South Africa. He watched it anyway.
Yes.
Penalty shootout is crutonic in and of itself, Jody Shields says. Full stop. Surely there's a better way to decide a team sport. Yeah, it seems a little much, but Christopher Gillingham says it was correct to do what the coach did. He plays at the highest level every weekend, Gordon Smith is saying, of the 19-year-old. Ricky Tagg is watching. Has our audio improved? Has the crackling gone away? I'll go listen again here myself. 1, 2, 3. It sounds no crackly here. Oh, I still hear a crack. What is that?
I don't.
No, you're not listening to, I'm listening to the audio out, and I do hear the odd crack, which is no pun intended. Well, hopefully it's not too bad. Sorry about that. Janice F.D. crackling, nearby fires. I understand the fires are bad. Yeah, they're way, way north of us. They're up on the other side of Lake Tahoe, so we're not seeing it. So correct or crutonic? What do you think? Ted Ryman says the audio is good. Still, yeah, I think there is some intermittent crackling on something here. And
it's the fires.
No, it's not the fires. I'm sorry, it's something here, and it sounds like it's my mic, not yours, Julie. I predicted here on Friday it would come down to penalty. Yes, you did, Stingray. Kicks lottery. Great game, though. Yes, it was. And Venetia Jackman is watching. Welcome to you. Well, you don't seem to have strong opinions on this. Shall we leave it at that?
Yeah.
Well, how many of you think the ending the game with penalty kicks is correct. If it comes down to that, you played a tie in an extra time. Is that the best way to resolve the game, or should they play more overtime? I mean, you risk injury if the game starts getting long for TV and so on. Gordon Smith would have been a better game if his other home country, Denmark, had been in the final, he's saying. Janice Davis saying soccer players, because, of course, Gordon's a Brit living in Denmark, and Denmark lost to.
Yeah.
Soccer players don't have to be old. They don't have to mellow like sailors have to. Ted Ryman, penalty shootouts are rubbish. I think that means Krudunik.
Yes.
Anybody like the penalty shootouts? You don't like them, Julia.
No. They're just not fair, it seems like. If you've played it, a great game and everybody's beat up, and all of a sudden you have one little second and it's gone.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what other penalties. Yeah, okay.
But it may be better than going on for 31 overtimes.
Well, they could all. I guess you wouldn't want to end it as a tie. Remember in ice hockey we used to end it a tie.
Yeah.
Okay. People don't seem to be too fussed one way or another, so we shall move on to the rest of our show, and now you'll understand why today our theme, in part, not all this sports stuff, but some of the sailing stuff we're going to do too. But it relates to this day in history. The Italian goalie fussed right more often. Well, that's the problem. I'm not a soccer player. I've watched Meg play a lot as a kid, but part of the problem is, as I said to you, Julia, on Sunday, the goalie almost has to guess which way the players are going to shoot, because if they don't guess and go left or right almost before the player shoots, it's a hard art, and it's a bit science and a bit art, but if they don't guess right, then they don't block the shot. And okay, my mother says penalty kick for Janice Davis. Penalty kicks are fun. Don't forget, and she's a big soccer fan because her daughter-in-law, or my brother's ex-wife, and her kids, who are really great, almost semi-pro soccer, Olympian type soccer. But don't forget, these players been running nonstop for a long time. Penalty kicks take fresh legs.
That's got to be true.
In Baton Rouge, in tennis, to win the match, the last set tiebreak unless rules are different than the other sets. Yeah, Clark Chave can maybe continue the game, but remove one player from each team every 5 minutes. It couldn't go on that long. Well, that is also a thought. Some people say just take out the goalie. Take out the goalie and play both teams, then play without goalies, but all the other forwards and defense, all the other players. I don't know. I'm not. Rashford fooled the keeper, but was just off target. It looked beautiful, Emmett is saying. Hockey goalies have to guess all the time. Yeah, they do, but the bigger problem in hockey is just that the goalie is screened all the time and they can't see where the shot. Why don't we talk about sailing?
Yeah, what a good idea.
First, let's talk about what this day in history, on the 13th of July. Did you see this in the pre-show, Julia? But you know who said, I did it my...
I do.
1939, here's your one and only clue.
Yes.
God, he was skinny.
Yeah.
That, of course, are the Bobby Soxers surrounding
Frank Sinatra.
July 13th, 1939, when the Harry James Band recorded, quote, From the Bottom of My Heart. I don't remember the song. In New York on this day, the new vocalist was a skinny youngster called Frank Sinatra, cutting his first single. He was on a 2-year contract and paid $75 a week. Was probably pretty good money in that time, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the song may have come from the bottom of his heart, but it was a flop, selling just 8,000 copies, small fry by any standards. Undaunted, Sinatra went on, obviously, to become one of the biggest selling recording artists ever, notching up sales of more than 150 million records worldwide. You know who was second to him or was?
Tony Bennett.
No. Elvis.
Alice?
Yeah, Elvis Presley.
Oh, Elvis.
Oh, yeah. Elvis Presley. He was particularly popular, I didn't know this, in the UK, where later in his career he gave regular concerts at the prestigious Royal Albert Hall in London, so it came as no surprise when in 2001, 20 years ago today, or not today, but this year, BBC Radio announced that Sinatra had been voted the voice of the century.
Yeah.
Lennon's up there, McCartney's up there, a couple others. up there in the all-time greatest hits of the male vocalists anyway. On This Day in History, 1939. At first a flop, then he did it his way.
Yes. He has a lovely life story. I've read a couple.
And, you know, it's interesting because kids young and old, Meg is a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of these things. Some people are timeless, right?
Right.
Some people aren't. And a lot of the young kids on It's Okay That We Sail With, whom we sail with, are big Sinatra fans. They know all the songs.
Right.
What's your favorite Sinatra song?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I really like a lot.
It must be you, New York down.
I heard it too. I heard the song too.
Yeah,
much.
It's a bit cliche by now.
But there's hardly anything he's done that I don't like.
What's late but here? The big thing in high. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay. What's your favorite? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite
Sinatra song?
Sinatra song, you Fozy out there in Fozy land.
Some of them are his sad songs that like get One for the Road, and
well, you like One for the Road, but whoever sang did Sinatra sing that first?
Uh-huh.
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the Olympics. Get Emmett's report and so on. There's things are gearing up. That is the athletes' village, by the way. That is in Tokyo's Harami waterfront district.
Wow.
And
built for the occasion?
Well, it's built for the occasion, but then they're all being turned into, housing for citizens.
Right, I know. Yeah. But that's been done already.
Well, that was the problem with delaying it even a year, and now they're struggling. And the first athletes are entering as we speak. Today, it's Wednesday there now, but the first athletes have arrived at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Village, which has officially been opened by organizers in Japan's capital city. The national delegations have also been able to enter the village to prepare for the arrival of their respective athletes in the previous days. In fact, Emmett John tells us that any number of support people have already shown up down in Enoshima. Athletes were dropped off and entered the village at a location inaccessible to the media. The low-key nature of the arrivals was underlined by traditional welcome ceremonies for the teams being canceled, sadly, and that's just the start of what, it's going to be a different games, as we've all been saying. Tokyo 2020 claimed the cancellation of the media opportunities and welcome ceremonies came as part of simplification measures due, of course, to COVID. Quote, the athletes are grateful that these Olympic Games are happening under the circumstances and that all measures are being taken to deliver safe and secure games. IOC President Thomas Bach from Germany said, quote, after all they had to overcome during the last year where they did not know whether the next competition would take place, they did not know whether they could go training the next day, they did not know where they would meet their coach again. After all this additional stress during the pandemic, finally they can shine on the Olympic stage in the coming days.
I think they all have a gold star.
Well, and thank God it's happening. We've been saying it all along. That article by Michael Pavitt from InsideTheGames.biz, the authoritative website on all things Olympic, he's already reporting from the main press center in Tokyo. Now, not in Tokyo, but down south of Tokyo, the holiday island known as Enoshima. And Chinese state media are reporting that the first group of Chinese athletes to arrive at Tokyo were the sailing team. Chinese sailing team arrived in Tokyo on Saturday, 13 days ahead of the Olympic Games. The 18-member team, including 12 athletes, is China's first Olympic contingent to arrive in Japan. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
They will compete in 8 events in the postponed Games as China's second largest presence in Olympic sailing competitions, after Beijing, of course, which they hosted in 2008. The Chinese team, all wearing masks and eye shield, walked out of the Narita airport before taking an official bus coach to their hotels. Now, there was more. This from Han Jing of the Xinhua. Julia, check that pronunciation. Xinhua news agency of China. And wait, there's more, because the Xinhua news agency, we did check the pronunciation, by the way. And that's the new China news agency. It's the official state-run press agency, so I'm sure you can believe it completely. They would never tell a lie, would they? Would
Never.
never spin the story. Xinhua is the biggest and most influential media organization in China, as well as the largest news agency in the world in terms of worldwide correspondence. Did you know that?
No, but it could be true.
Well, I believe it. I mean, I believe everything I read in Wikipedia, don't you? Xinhua is a ministry-level institution. Okay, enough of all that.
As it should be.
As it should be.
Xinhua.
Well, what are here's the pronunciation.
Xinhua.
Yeah, Xinhua.
Xinhua.
Xinhua, you were absolutely right. Not that I doubted it.
Xinhua.
No, I didn't, because I looked it up.
I know.
And we actually, the truth is, we rehearsed that before the show.
Xinhua.
I said,
Yeah.
Julia, Xinhua.
Xinhua.
Okay, enough of that. Now, back to Enoshima, which is the island, an hour and change, hour and 15, 20 minutes down south of Tokyo, where the sailing Olympics will take place. And the athletes are not housed in the village of Tokyo. They are housed here in hotels. Worries rise as Tokyo 2020, this is Xinhua again, 2020 sailing athletes in the same hotel with local tourists, God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Tisk, tisk.
Tisk, tisk.
So the news agency, taking a little bit of a whack at the Japanese, our good friends just across the sea there. The Tokyo 2020 sailing athletes are staying in the same hotel with local Japanese tourists, raising concerns about possible COVID-19 infections. The Chinese Yachting Association president, Zhang Zhidong, told Xinhua here on Sunday. The Chinese yachting chief expressed her deep worry about this situation, saying the Chinese team is negotiating with Tokyo 2020 organizers for enhanced COVID precautions in this hotel. Quote, although the teams from different countries are arranged on separate floors, local tourists still mix with the Olympic athletes in the lobby and the restaurant, said Zhang. Mm-hmm. It may increase potential risk of COVID-19 infections, she added. The residence of the sailing athletes is outside the Olympic villages, and Enoshima, as you all know, Enoshima Yacht Harbor venue is located away from downtown Tokyo. So, end item. So, already the media have got to write about something, and they're writing about housing and hotels.
Well, it's a legitimate concern.
I guess, but,
Not overriding, as it turns out, but legitimate.
Let's see what John Emmett has to say about what's going on.
Yes.
He is in Southampton, overnighting there. Southampton's sort of halfway between, not quite, between Weymouth and Heathrow. And he has to get up before breakfast tomorrow. He has an dark 30 flight from Heathrow. Expects to be on the water in Enoshima on Thursday. John Emmett reporting.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending where you're watching from. I'm John Emmett, and this is my final report from the UK before heading to Japan for the 2020, or maybe that should be 2021 Olympic Games. Trying to do my final broadcast before the rain kicks off. This is after all the UK, and the summer doesn't necessarily mean very much. Because of the regulations, we get accreditation as soon as we arrive at the venue, so I won't be able to make any more reports. I'm there as a coach, not as media. But everybody has been working so hard to make this event happen. I think it's almost impossible to overestimate just how hard everybody's working. And that's not just all the staff members who've been putting in the hours beyond count. That's also the volunteers. And the number of volunteers required to make events like the Olympic Games run is absolutely huge, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some of them. I haven't seen them for a long time, and we just feel like family. There's a really welcoming culture, and it's been a long time coming. So I think I'm almost looking forward to being on a flight. And then just going back to home and indeed all around the world, I think volunteers are a huge part of sailing, not just Olympic sailing. They are the backbone of grassroots. And it's not only because it keeps the cost of sailing down. I think it's because you get that family spirit. And personally, I love to coach the cadets or whatever at my home club and put something back into the sport, and those volunteers, that's really how we grow the sport. Enthusiastic people. There's a place for elite sailing, but it's a triangle, if you want to think about it, three-dimensional. It's a pyramid, and the bottom is the grassroots, the clubs, the classes, and that's run by volunteers. And we need to be very, very thankful for all those people who put in lots and lots of time, and we need to, appreciate them and reward them, because actually they are a vital part of the future of sailing. So this Olympic Games, of course, a lot of focus on the athletes, but for the sport as a whole, we need to be very grateful for our volunteers, and hopefully more people will be inspired into the sport. So final report before getting on a plane, and I hope everyone enjoys the spectacle going forward. All the best.
Okay, another nice report. I talked with John this morning, and they're all making fun of his dead cat. That's the windscreen. You call it a dead cat or a kitty or a fuzzy, and some fuzz appeared in John's video. Baton Rouge. There's so many clever jokes, and they're talking about how it compares favorably to John's hair. This dead cat. And John, of course, is watching all the comments and giving equally back. Yeah. And then now they're all talking about what songs. Come fly with me, da 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 da, or fly me to the moon, da da da.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody said I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Okay. Yeah. Why are we breaking into songs? Because it's waking us all up, cheering us up.
Yep.
And cool video report, Stingray is saying, Penny Rendell is watching. Andrew Pindar, John, did you borrow your van from Del Boy? Now, you Brits will have to tell us what is that. It's a beautiful blue.
Yes.
For John Emmett Sailing. I like the branding, but I don't know what Del Boy is. It must be some sort of a British delivery service or grocery or something service. Who knows? Now, here's what's croutonic about all this. Now, John said it's his last report. He's checked, and he unlike me, he follows the rules. I'm ESTP. I don't follow the rules. John must be one of these ENJPs or something that is very follows the rules.
Take a minute to tell people what those initials are.
Everybody knows what that is.
No, everybody doesn't know.
If they don't, they're Googling it right now. Myers-Briggs. Personality disorders. But John John has been told by World Sailing and others that he cannot do interviews with us, can't do reports. Okay, I understand that a credentialed athlete, coach, judge, official is not supposed to be giving interviews to non-credentialed media. I get that. But to not be able to do interviews back home, can John not give an interview to his home newspaper, or can the sailors not give interviews to their home newspapers or their home radio stations or to their favorite TFE Live global sailing webcast? So I've checked into that, and I'm told that actually they can do interviews with other media as long as they're not, I'm reporting here from the venue or from the athletes' village. If they're outside the venue or the village, which is probably going to be more difficult with COVID. But if they're outside of that, they can, give reports to whomever they want, or so I'm told. But John's going to check that all out because we value his reports. And Luca Devote's there as a coach. And, of course, there's Paul Carrot is there and any number of other sailors and coaches and managers whom we'd love to hear from if and when we can. So John is checking that out. Now, one other thing he told me, is that he hears that everyone who is an accredited coach, athlete, has to wear some kind of a yellow. And in fact, John didn't tell me this. I think another coach told me this. It was another coach.
Yeah.
They all have to wear a yellow vest, which tells the whole, it's kind of like wearing, remember the Scarlet Letter in our country, or what was done to the Jews in the Second World War? You got to wear this big yellow identifying vest so that people know not to come in contact with you, and so that you, as an athlete, coach, manager, so on, are not allowed to go in contact with the general population. So we'll see how that's I haven't seen that story in the press, but that's what I hear from one of our.
I love John's story about volunteers, because I spend my life with volunteers, and every word he said was wonderful.
Well, and of course he's right. We say it on this show, Paul Henderson and many, many others, about how it's all about the clubs. It's all about the classes. Not everything, but most everything that happens in this sport, as John said, is due to volunteers at clubs, in classes, getting together and organizing events, championships, social, race management. Tell me, there's very little that comes from top down of any real value. It's grassroots, it's bottom up, it's for sailors, by sailors, and not the other way around. And I think that's not just true in sailing, that's true in life. We're from the government and we're here to help.
I have lots of stories about that.
Julia, tell them about what you did in your big voluntary days in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah. For a few years, I was vice president of the National Center for Voluntary Action, which...
Based in Washington, D.C.
We're based in Washington, D.C. And we, at the time when all the volunteers in government were on one side, and we were all the volunteers not in government representing their interests. And
you don't mean the volunteers in government, you mean the professionals in government, the staff that were hired and so on?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Emmett's message is absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Right. All volunteers at a time was all volunteers are women, except most of them are men.
Well, that was a few years ago. That's different now. Now there's more women than there are men in a lot of those roles.
No.
Oh, okay. Now, no one's noticed that we've swapped. I was expecting, because I got criticism, and you know how thin-skinned I am. I got criticism from Stingray over Julia and I looking at each other when we're in this shot, because the shot's coming from behind us for spatial reasons, from camera 2 up here. And then when I turn and look at her here in the studio, I used to be on the right in this split screen shot, and Julia on the left. And she'd turn and look at me, and I'd look at her, and it looked like we were going to that. So I swapped it. And I couldn't swap it until we had this much better computer that we've now got. That's our streaming computer. I hope the audio's still not crackling. But I was expecting, Emmett noticed that you had swapped. Okay, good. So did he say something? Julia and I
I didn't hear him. Yeah. Yeah, it is much better.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope it is. I'm glad somebody noticed, because I would have been hurt, as I said.
Nobody noticed.
As thin-skinned as I am. Thanks, John Emmett, for another wonderful report. I hope we can get something from him during the games by way of interview, even if it's recorded or whatever we do. We'll try to figure that out. Cool guy that he is. Now, World Sailing keeps I wish U.S. Sailing would do this. We saw the Irish Sailing Association, whatever they're called, did this. I wish U.S. Sailing would have done the same kind of an interview, just a simple, feature interview on each of the athletes going, and your other federations, if they are. I haven't seen them. And I've looked, on YouTube, and I've got only 110 or 15 YouTube subscriptions to every sailing service and so on. But World Sailing, to their everlasting credit, are taking top competitors in the various classes in running features, and I have 2 of them again today. Have a look.
I was always into sport, and I started with triathlon. And in one of my sessions, the manager of the sailing club saw me, and he was like, okay, I want her to come and try sailing. And that's how I ended up in the sailing club. And since then, I just loved it and stayed with it. I think I'm strong mentally, and also as a sailor, I would say I don't really mind what conditions we get, and I'm not stressed about that at the beginning of the day, which is a good thing. The selection process was really long for me. We were starting in April 2019 and finishing in November 2020. So it was a year and a half of selections, and with the delay of the Olympic Games, we had an extension of the qualification, so I had to re-qualify myself again, which was not easy, and I'm quite happy I did it. It was pretty hard mentally to go through it again. I'm aiming for the top. It's not always easy to be there and keep that up, and at the beginning the first medals were really exciting for me. I was quite happy, but then I got 5 medals that were silver. So I got kind of a bitter taste with the last one, and yeah, I'm aiming higher. Actually, at the test event, the medal I did, I have to admit, it was probably the medal that I'm most proud of until now. It was fun because we got different conditions every day, and it's normally not happening in 1 week of sailing. You can have the same conditions for the whole week, and we had really different conditions, and I think that's what makes it interesting, and that's what makes a good sailor, being good in all conditions. And in Japan, I think I'm just gonna do my best. A lot of things can happen there, so target, not target, I'm just gonna push it and do my best.
There were a lot of comments on that video. First of all, that was not our crackling. That was wind noise on that video.
On the micro.
On their microphone, on that video from their wind noise on their micro. Julia's over there, and I turned our mics down, and she said, "Oh, my God, the crackling's gotten really bad." Because she's got two headphones. She's got headphones on, so she can really hear well what's going on, which is part of what her job is watching the stream integrity. And the reason I would put the audio... Okay, I'm going to nerd out here for a sec. The reason I don't put the audio from the out, I can listen to it in my earbud. I can listen to the audio in my earbud that's going out, and I'll go do that now. That the problem is there is about a 0.7, about a tenth of a second, call it a tenth of a second of delay on the audio going out.
Mm.
So I'm right now trying to listen to myself a tenth of a second afterwards, and I'll lose my mind.
Yes.
And if I were to turn that on to Julia's, see, I hear that crackling now. I'm listening. There is some strange crackling somewhere. And I don't know if it's on my mic or Julia's. Ooh, that was strange. But when I don't hear the crackling when I'm listening here, so it must be coming off the audio coming out of going onto the stream. I apologize for that. We'll get that fixed before Friday's show. But we do have to delay the audio going out because the video runs faster. So we delay the audio, and so then the lip sync here is correct. Okay, we got another video, even better, I think, video of the Danish 49er team. Have a look.
Our coach Peter, he sort of set us up. I was splitting with my old helm, and he said, he had been asking a few times, so what if Jonas returns to sailing? And I was like, yeah, well, we'll wait and see. And then I split up with my old helm, and he said, so now Jonas is going back sailing. Do you want to get in? And then it seemed obvious at the time. So yeah, and we've lived heavily ever after.
The Olympics in China 2008, and I was sailing with Martin Kirketab. We were leading quite comfortably going out to the last medal race. Half a minute after we hoisted the spinnaker, we broke the mast, and obviously that was we couldn't. There wasn't time enough to get our extra mast and prepare that. So we went inshore and we kind of looked at, okay, what can we do? And the Croatian boat was more or less ready to sail, and we started rigging that. And lucky for us, they thought that was a good idea, and they actually helped us rig the boat. And we went out there and just made actually the start by 2 seconds. Sailed the medal race in the Croatian boat and managed to finish. So we kept the gold medal, and after some protest, we got the gold at last.
It was a huge thing. We were watching on the TV, and we had to go to brunch, but we couldn't really get off the TV, and it was actually the fall after that I started sailing. So yeah, probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, I had a little break after Rio. I think actually my idea the whole time was to do another Olympics. Obviously, I've now tried like the best thing in the Olympics and kind of the worst thing being number 4 just outside the medals. I can tell you it's more fun to win a medal, and I wanted to try that again.
I think leading, breaking the mast, and winning is
that's a plan. Let's do that again.
Yeah,
good plan.
No, but I mean, yeah, of course we want to come away with a medal, and if it's made of gold, then it's an even bigger joy. So yeah. we're just going for it.
I think that sums up everything.
So I think you'd agree it's another terrific world sailing video, and keep them coming. And again, I wish other federations were doing that, or other, national governing bodies, NGBs, member national authorities, even class associations. It's okay. It's not that hard. It's not that expensive, but it takes some time and some planning. And it takes, Emmett, it takes somebody like John who's willing to get his camera and his fuzzy mic out there and do it. So Bravo Zulu to World Sailing, at least they're featuring some of the top athletes in those videos. Now, here's the schedule. John sent us some dates. I went and, trying to dig this out in one place is not easy. On the World Sailing website, on the Olympic IOC website, but there is racing according to this, the IOC sites. And John, click in here, chip in here if I'm wrong, or if this graphic is wrong. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that is not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then the medal races are staggered starting on Saturday the 31st and continue each day, as we told you on the show the other day on Friday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Remember, that's Tokyo time too, it's the night before here. The gold medal moments, the medal races are July 31st. You got to love this description. This is from the IOC website. Men's and women's windsurfing is that on the 31st. Then on August 1st is the laser and the laser radial. This, again, we're repeating what John Emmett gave us the other day. On August 2nd is the 49er and the FX. On the 3rd is the Fin and the Nacra. The 4th are the 470s, men and women. It is possible for sailors to clinch a gold medal before the medal race, which then would determine silver and bronze. Well, sometimes all three are clinched. Croutons. It's a dumb system in my not so humble opinion. I wish we'd get rid of that and fix it so we didn't have medal races that don't count for anything, confuse the hell out of even the IOC. The Zoom watch party. We are going to do a Zoom watch party on our San Francisco time, our Monday, the 2nd of August, which is the 3rd of August in Tokyo. And we will cover the Fin and the Nacra. Now, that racing starts, I think, as best I can tell, it starts at noon Tokyo time, which is 8 at night the night before here. So on the racing's on the 3rd. It is triple, quadruple check. Yes, Monday night, the 2nd of August. That is a Monday night, right? Yes, it is. Monday night, the 2nd of August, our time at 8 p.m., 2000, which is noon in Tokyo the next day. We will run a Zoom watch party. This is, of course, subject to adjustment depending upon what happens, including it's possible, as John has reminded us, that weather could delay the medal races in any number of ways. But our intention, I can't do a medal race. We wanted to do the Sunday night here, which would be Monday there to do the 49ers, but I can't. I'm just coming back from GovCup, and I'm just going to be too busy putting this studio back together and having done a week down there at GovCup. So we will, however, on our Monday night, which is Tuesday in Tokyo, at noon their time, 2000 our time, 2300 on the East Coast, 0300 UTC, which is 0400 in London, 0500 on the continent, and you all down under can figure that out because you're close to Tokyo time. We will do a Zoom watch party. Now, we're not going to live stream it. We'll do it like we did during the Cup. We'll put a big Zoom up here, we'll give you the code, anybody that wants to come on, and we'll do a private watch party via Zoom, just like we did during the Cup. That's the current intention. And if anybody has a better idea, fine. And if that goes well, and depending upon how it looks, we could conceivably do the 470 racing the next night, but we'll play that by ear. I don't know if we've got a tremendous amount of interest. Some of you, no doubt, will be interested in the 470s, but others not.
Clark Chapin said that there's a good graphic on
send it along, Clark, and we'll have a look.
On Wikipedia.
Wikipedia? The medal races?
That's what he said.
Okay, good. Well,
that even shows the lay days
Okay, well, all I really cared for the purpose of this was to discuss the medal race and when we would do a Zoom watch party. So that's the current plan. And now go back to all these comments here, Julia. You're thumbing through your comments too. John, did you borrow your van from Del Boy? We said that. Now somebody tell us what is Del Boy. And Emmett's saying apparently Del Boy's vans only have 3 wheels because his van has 4 wheels. Jokes apart, I'm still getting transient sound clipping. Yeah, I don't think it's clipping. Is it clipping? Yeah. We'll see if it's clipping. I'll bring it down. I don't think it's clipping. We have a compressor and we also have a limiter. And I'm sorry for that. That is most irritating, I know. And I'll bring it down and see if it is clipping by some chance. I don't think so. Because I also, as I said, have a limiter as well, but we'll see. Maybe it is. But back to comments.
Andrew Pindo said medal races might also be decided on penalties.
Well, correct. And they have been. There's no doubt. Obviously, they have protests during the regular fleet racing, and then they have umpired medal races, so they make decisions instantly on the water, thanks to whoever invented umpiring and said, don't try this at home because although they perfected it, it's pretty darn good. It takes a lot of man and woman power, a lot of person power to run umpiring for fleet racing and team racing is the only. Mm-hmm. Emmett says, I think it will be okay for you to interview me, but I cannot interview someone or make a report. Yes, I get that. And maybe you can't do it in the village. Maybe you can't do it on the venue. I don't know. But John's going to check that out when he gets there, and I hope we can then interview him.
And or save it for a roundup.
Well, just it's always live and close to the time and so on is always good. There's Emmett Independent Trading. Yeah, okay. They're still joking about his van. Emmett says we have to wear accreditation at all times, different colors for different people. Okay. Makes it easy to find the volunteers, John is saying. And what else? Julia, any other comments you want to highlight? Emmett noticed that we switched these cameras. Mm-hmm. Pedro Filing Sailor, volunteering, this is Peter Stevenson down in Sydney, volunteering is about giving back and paying it forward. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The great thing about our FOSI is that for the most part, they are all senior serious, not fire plugs, spark plugs in our sport. Spark plugs.
Yes, and one always forgets to mention that you always get more out of giving volunteer time than not giving it.
Yeah, hopefully you do. I think that's generally true. Not always. Sometimes it's a real grind. It's really hard.
Oh, of course it is. But when it's all over.
You're right. What a good point, Julie. Ted Ryman, I did notice you'd swap, but I thought it was the Johnny Walker red effect. Have another sip, Johnny Walker.
Okay.
Marcos Feinstein, who's down in SoCal, reminds me of umpire Kirk Brown, who was one of the early umpires. I think on the first umpiring team we had at Long Beach in '88, he was a deputy or a alternate umpire. And Mike Van Dyke here in Long Beach preparing for the 2028 games. I'm in the race committee volunteer somewhere. Yeah, they're all getting set already for 2028, which is a big undertaking, needless to say. And there's nobody, I tell you what, there's nobody that does it better than SoCal. Mm-hmm. And the 84, well, a lot of people are hoping that when the 2028 games, it'll be a repeat of 88.
Absolutely.
And it'll be hugely profitable. And they'll use existing facilities again, like Peter Uberoth and the game.
And 150,000 volunteers.
And was that many volunteers?
I think so. It was big.
And heaps of volunteers so that the costs are kept down. And that volunteer spirit is a big part of the states, but particularly California and particularly SoCal.
Yeah.
You look at how Long Beach Yacht Club runs Congressional Cup or Balboa Yacht Club runs year after year after year. And that's true, I'm sure, for many of your clubs.
Of course,
as well.
It's true across.
John says I think he was talking about the Israeli RSX sailor fell in love with her coach. I wonder how that happens, John. He fell in love with her coach.
How nice.
That seems to be a pattern. Yeah, that's Gordon Smith says there seems to be a pattern there. Any other comments, Julia? Lots of comments. Great stuff. The same crackling as before, and it's back again now. Pindar saying, has it gone away now since I made a bit of an adjustment? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Every so often. Sounds great from here. I don't know what the crackling is, but we'll figure it out. A faulty pot or slider. I doubt that. This is a brand new audio board. Peter Stevenson. We may have faulty pot, but that's another. That's another. Or,
Don't explain.
Or a faulty pot. It's Stingray saying, so amazing that far north countries like Denmark have, well, Denmark's a little further north than England, Canada. I mean, it's the size of the country that's amazing how many great sailors they turn out, going all the way back to Paul Elstrom and the kids we've got in the Gov Cup and so on. Emmett's saying that Denmark's also looking good in radial and nacro. Indeed. Emmett, you can almost guarantee that one or more medal races will be changed due to wind conditions. Okay, John, will keep us both. Hello, Bill Shore, former Olympic director here in the States and one of the great sailors in our modern history, in my era, our era. Where in that Enoshima Overlook video will they be launching from? I don't know that, Stingray. Emmett will have to tell you that, John. It's a massive harbor, yep. Matthias Collins is hoping he's in. By the way, Matthias Collins had success in the soling class, too. He's still an avid soling sailor. Yeah. I did a little research on Matthias. He's quite some sailor. He's secretary of the soling class. He talk about volunteers who do a lot of stuff for our beloved sport. Bravo Zulu, Matthias Collins, and a lot of others. Clark Chapin's another one who's done tremendous amount of race management, to say nothing of helping us, but he, for free as a volunteer, but he is also a longtime race officer and judge, as many others of you are here doing the same sorts of. James Dickens, there's a new name.
Mary June Szymanski says, I don't think it is clipping. And Paul Hemchuk says, it sounds like digital dropouts.
We'll find it. We'll find that gremlin. I haven't changed anything since noise is an electronic fart. Now, Julia, wave your finger at my mother.
Shame on you.
That is not correct. You got to do it at this camera, because I put it on camera too, and tell my mother she's a crouton.
I'm not going to tell her she's a crouton.
She is a crouton. We'll call her after the show. Del Boy was the main character in a British TV comedy show from the 80s, and he had a three-wheeled Reliant van.
Oh, that's good to know. I wondered where that came from.
Pedro, did you see Peter Stevenson? If John Emmett can be interviewed but not reporting, will he be able to talk? Emmett's a good. He's a good A. He'll take it. Yep. I'll find a neutral background, neutral shirt, etc. Do they drive on the left or right in Japan? Stingray, you must know the answer to that, because they do drive on the left, as they do in the UK. Ralph Roberts is watching. Talk about great Olympic coaches and Olympians. Tom, is this cracking related to wiring false contact? Matthias, I don't know. We haven't had this problem. And I've got a new mixer that's been here now for, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. It's top high end, but there's a gremlin somewhere. Who knows? We'll fix it. Keeps coming back. Okay, sounds like good old loose connection interference. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Sorry, guys and gals. Yeah, silk underwear. We don't talk about that. Julia wag her finger at me. John Emmett, I find myself leaning towards being a race officer longer term to try and give the sailors good service. Yeah. Sorry, Kevin Brown, about the crackliness. I go back and listen. It's hard sometimes to replicate. 1, 2, that's my mic. Julia, you talk, count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Do it again.
1, 2.
Oh, there it is. I heard it.
3.
I heard it right there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I don't think it's related to either of our mics, and I don't know what else it is. Can everyone please stop distracting TFE about the cracking so we get on with the show? Steve Gruber, thank you.
Yes.
Very much, and sorry about the crackling. Okay. There is no America's Cup news. At least I don't have any. If any of you does, let me know. I couldn't find anything hiding her hair. There's a lot of rumors that Valencia is going up in the pecking order for the AC-37 venue, but it's only rumors. I don't believe it myself. I do think Valencia is obviously quite well prepared to host a multi-team event, because they did it in 2007 beautifully, and then hosted the 2010 Deed of Gift match. But otherwise, there is a bit of New Zealand news I just stuck in here. And look, here's one of their great young sailors. What a great sailing country again. But same as with them, not New Zealand and Australia are not sending their sailors to the Gov Cup here in 2 weeks' time. The Yachting New Zealand have decided against sending a team to the Youth Worlds. Yachting New Zealand has made the difficult decision, this just out today, made the difficult decision to not send a team to December's Youth Sailing World Championships, but will still select a team off the back of October's NZL Sailing Foundation Youth Champs. So they're going to have the team selected but not send them. The decision to forego the Youth Worlds is based on the risks associated with sending a team to the event due to to be held in Oman, as well as the current managed isolation requirements on return and the health and well-being of sailors and coaches. It's a stance other countries have already taken, including Oz, and World Sailing have indicated that they expect only half the normal number of attendees at the regattas. So this is obviously it's a continuing issue. And it's interesting, New Zealand enjoyed that whole America's Cup period where they had, the one or two little outbreaks and they managed them quite beautifully. But now both in Australia, where they've got a terrible problem in New South Wales and perhaps elsewhere, and a long lockdown. And Peter Stevenson sent me a video this morning from their morning television on their Wednesday, I think it was, Peter, talking about them being locked down maybe now until Christmas, or at least having serious constraints on life. So a lot of people haven't gotten vaccinated in Australia. The vaccines have not been available until just the last, in big quantities, and they're now getting big quantities in there. And of course, we know what's going on in Cuba because of COVID and other things. So our hearts and minds are with everybody, including especially these kids who, maybe the one chance in their lifetime to go to an event like this that launched people like Chris Dixon, like Russell Coots, like, tell me who else, to go to the Youth Worlds, which is a very cool event, as is Balboa Yacht Club's Governor's Cup, which is, in effect, there is a Youth Match Racing World Championship, which we're also hosting at Balboa the week after, with 1 week separating the Gov Cup. And we're doing it again because, frankly, World Sailing can't find other clubs, other venues, other countries to host the event. It's difficult. And a lot of the same kids will be sailing this year in both the Gov Cup, the prestigious International Youth Match Racing Championship, the 54th edition of which will be held this year at Balboa Yacht Club. Speaking of which, on Monday's show, we ran our 4th edition of Road to the Gov Cup, thanks to Emil Kjær from Denmark, Royal Danish Yacht Club. All these kids are wonderful. They're smart, articulate, thoughtful, kind, and you can't say enough about them. And I look forward to seeing them all down at Balboa, where we will be doing our usual morning shows and streaming of the press conference as well, live streaming of the semifinals and finals, the last 2 days of racing. Not this coming week, but the week after, down at Balboa Yacht Club. And I'll be down there with Andy Rose and Chris Bretschker and so on. But we did record our 5th edition, 5th episode of Road to the Gov Cup. This from yet another very cool San Diego sailor. They're crazy good down there, as I think I said in this video. Here's a 12 or so minute video featuring Ansgar Jordan, whose family is German, living, and he's grown up here. But very bright, thoughtful kid, sails at Tufts University. Have a look at this, our 5th edition of Road to the Gov Cup. Well, this is our 5th episode of the Road to the Governor's Cup 2021. The 54th edition will take place down at the esteemed Balboa Yacht Club down in Orange County, SoCal, in just 2 weeks' time. And we're delighted to have another skipper with us. This is Ansgar Jordan from San Diego. He has a German name. He's a terrific young sailor. Grew up at Coronado Yacht Club in San Diego. Another one of these crazy good sailors. There's something, as we keep saying, in the air and the water down there in San Diego. Delighted to have him and, of course, our Gov Cup guru with us, who joins us from Newport Beach, and Ansgar's in San Diego. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks, Tom.
Andy, take it away.
Well, this is great, Ansgar. Thank you very much for joining us. I sent you a link to one of the interviews we did last week, but we're doing this with as many skippers as we can get in. It's amazing. We only have 2 weeks to go from the regatta. But let's start with who you are, where you go to school, and then we're going to talk about San Diego in a second here.
Sure.
Yeah, so my name's Ansgar Jordan. I go to school at Tufts University in Boston. I'm a rising senior there, which means I'm going into my 4th year. And yeah, I've been match racing for about 3 years now. My first sort of big event was the Rose Cup in 2018, and received an invite to the Governor's Cup last year. And unfortunately, the COVID hit and it didn't happen, but super excited to be here this year.
All right. Tufts obviously is, you sail intercollegiates, and Tufts is one of the better schools in the country for that. Now, you sail dinghies too. How much do you weigh?
I'm about 160 pounds right now.
Yeah, and with a small crew, you can still sail. So you sail intercollegiates regularly in addition to racing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the match racing season is just in the fall, really. And that's, when people say intercollegiate match racing, that for most teams, that means 1 regatta. And for the teams that are lucky enough to make it to nationals, it's 2. But it ends up being really just 5 days of sailing if you're lucky.
Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. Is it's sort of, I always describe the match race nationals as sort of the redheaded stepchild of the ICSA. And I think, a lot of it's because, most of the coaches don't have a clue how to match race. So I don't think they want to emphasize something that they don't have a clue how to coach you. But
and they run it like a team race event, right? Yeah. And it was, New England's last year was for all intents and purposes a disaster.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm a pretty much an advocate for match racing, and I think those of you who do match race in addition to regular collegiate sailing will go a lot farther in your careers than the people that just sail dinghies. Okay, so let's talk about San Diego. So unfortunately, it's like here in Newport Beach, when you talk about a yacht club, it's always those elitists over at Newport Harbor Yacht Club,
right?
Instead of us really good sailors from Balboa. In San Diego, it's sort of the same way, isn't it? San Diego Yacht Club, and then this Coronado Yacht Club, wherever that is. Actually, Tom and I have both been there, and it's a fabulous club. Talk to us a little about that and the rivalry.
Well, yeah, it's San Diego Yacht Club gets all the glitz and the glam. They've hosted America's Cups. They've had Olympians come out of there. They've got a huge sailing center, and it always seemed like when I was starting in 420s, it was always, we had that one, we were the one Coronado team up against your 4 or 5 San Diego Yacht Club teams. And then when we did end up actually, beating them in some events, that was always a really great feeling. But, I love, sailing at both yacht clubs. Coronado's got a great program going with John Rogers, who's been there for, I don't even know how many years now. He coached me when I was yay high. And, but I enjoy sailing in both places, and I think the rivalry is good for sailing in general.
I know in particular, I think Jack Egan is one of the competitors in the Governor's Cup, and I note in the last Rose Cup, you guys got 5th and 6th, I think, something like that. You actually beat him. So do you expect to beat him? He's gone on. He got 2nd in the Rose Cup this year, which was pretty impressive against, he beat David Wood, and David's not bad, as you know.
Yeah, no, Jack's been sailing well, and Patrick and I, when we sailed in 420s, we've been sailing against him since, I want to say 2017, and we've had a lot of great battles for regatta leads, and sometimes he's come out on top, and sometimes we have. But yeah, that said, I look forward to facing him at the Governor's Cup in Newport, but I don't want to make any predictions as to how that's going to go right now.
All right. Well, I note that of the 2019 Rose Cup, which of course was, we took a year off last year for that too. But in the 2019 Rose Cup, 5 of you, of the competitors, are going to be sailing in the Governor's Cup. So it should be places 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8, which means you were all pretty close. So that should be pretty exciting. We have just, FYI, you may have seen the press release, but because we couldn't get the UK, Australia, New Zealand sailors could get here, but can go home basically without a long quarantine. But we have some really good, a Dane, a Swede, and the first entry from Metropolitan France, all of whom who have been very successful in Grade 2 regattas in Europe. So I think you have your work cut out for you, even though there are 7 Americans. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Who are you? You said that today and tomorrow you're practicing in the afternoon. Now, first of all, go through your crew besides Patrick. Are they the
2018 won the Club 420 National Championship, and I've been sailing with him for 4 years now. And he also goes to Tufts, which is wonderful. We don't sail together there, but except for match racing, obviously. But yeah, we've been sailing together for a while, and he's going to be on main and kite. And then I have Zenka Jordan, who's my brother, and he's going to be up on the bow / jib trim on the upwind, of course. And we've been sailing together now. We've done all sorts of events together. We've sailed a 420 event together. We did the Orange Bowl once together in 2016, and yeah, I couldn't imagine a better team to have for this event. I love these guys. They're awesome. We had who were the 2 brothers, Tom, from San Diego, the 2 twins that we had years ago here. Anyway, they were terrific, but it was so much fun to watch them, yell at each other.
I remember, but I don't remember their names now, to be honest.
I've just drawn a blank because they're Facebook friends, and I've drawn a complete blank, and I apologize to you if you happen to be listening. But they were terrific, and their mom. It was fun talking to their mom. She just sort of rolled her eyes, But how is it sailing with your brother?
Oh, it's I think it's an exercise in patience sometimes, and also one thing about Zenka is you got to keep him fed. You got to keep the engine going. We once had a match race together. We were at the Royal Canadian Yacht Club in Toronto, and our bow guy forgot to bring the food bag on the water, and I'm telling you, it just deteriorated throughout the day. And we were 2-1 in the finals. We were this close, and then it just broke, and we lost the series 3-2. But it's good to sail with him. He's always trying to learn. He's always got a positive attitude, and and he takes it really seriously, and I really appreciate that.
How old is he?
He is 22 now. He just recently graduated George Washington University, was captain of the sailing team there, and yeah, he's going to move on to do some things now.
I've got to ask, were your parents sailors in Germany? Your parents are from Germany, and I think you told us, what language do you speak in the house?
Only German.
Only German.
Right. No, so my mom doesn't come from a sailing background. My dad, they lived in Düsseldorf, which is, not anywhere really close to water. And the only lakes you have there is when they had the coal mines, and they filled them with water after, they were finished, digging out whatever. And so my dad bought his first boat, I think, when he was 18, which isn't really the age that you want to get into sailing, right? Like, you want to get into it earlier. And they then together, they sailed, my mom, my dad sailed 420s together, and also 470 together in Germany. And they got us into it in the Opti really early on.
Ansgar, tell us about this photo from 2016?
Right. So that's me with Chancellor Merkel in 2016. I served an internship at the German Bundestag, German Parliament, for one of the representatives there. And basically all I was doing is just like writing emails and in English to various people to like schedule events and stuff. But the one perk of it is, if you are an intern, or if you have the chance to be an intern there, is you get to take a picture with a chancellor. And that was, I think, in my second week on the job, which is in June.
Now, come on, pronounce chancellor in German, because it's an interesting word given today's culture. It's Kanzler. It's the Chancellor. Kanzler.
Yeah.
You're right, Tom. Your German's terrible. You're right.
It's as bad as my Spanish, Andy, as you're always telling me how bad my Spanish accent is.
No, español es muy mal.
Muy malo.
that's quite a thing. That's kind of. Are you interested in politics, or was that just a?
You're gonna have to ask my brother about that because he just finished his degree in international relations, and he's always reading The Economist and always has some NPR podcast going. I'm more on the engineering side. That's what I'm studying, but he's super into that stuff.
Great. Well, it's I wish the Kanzler was staying for quite a while longer. I think she's been tremendous for Germany.
She's been the chancellor. Since when, Andy?
God,
2005.
2005.
Almost before Ansgar was born.
Yeah.
Speaking of when you were born, we'll wrap it up here pretty quick, but I want to mention that you have a very fortunate birthday because, as you may know, the Governor's Cup is based on the last day of the regatta rather than a calendar year as far as when you're eligible. So you actually have this one plus two more, if you want.
I intend to be there for the next two as well. I was really hoping you'd say this because I didn't know if it was if the Governor's Cup was just scheduled always to end in July, or whether 1 year it might be in August or 1 year it might be in another year. But that's good news.
Ansgar, for you, we will always keep it in July. No, it has always been in July, so that's great. So there have been 12 of us that have won twice. You could be the first one to win 3. Think about that.
Oh, that'd be a great opportunity. I think for this year, Andy, in terms of goal setting, our team has moved away from saying we want to get 3rd or 5th or you don't want to get 5th, but say top 5, top 3 or something. I was actually talking to Dave Perry about this, and he told me not to set outcome-oriented goals, instead set performance-oriented. So instead of saying we want to get top 3, we want to get top 5, we're going to say we want to have equal or better boat speed than all the boats in the fleet. We want to have equal or better jibes. We want to have equal or better tacks, and that's how we're approaching the event.
Ansgar, I'm going to ask you, jump in here, Andrew, if I may, and ask Ansgar a question. You listed on your Tufts page that this, first it was the Nigerian distance runner I saw a couple of years ago, but now you're listing this gentleman as your favorite professional athlete. Tell us about him.
Well, I must have listed that two or 3 years ago, but yeah, we've been following. When I say we, I say my brother and my dad and I have been following Philip for a number of years now, and we're super excited when he won the Laser World Championships last year, right before the Olympics. We thought he's going to go win a gold medal. Obviously, COVID sort of ruined that, but we're hoping that he can do big things in Tokyo this summer.
Well, let's wrap up, Ansgar, with I want to go back to your comment about your goal setting. First of all, Dave Perry, I think everyone on this watching this knows that Dave Perry is the 5-time United States match racing champion and a Congressional Cup winner, and one of the best teachers I've ever seen, period. But that's interesting because I hadn't heard that from Dave, but back in the day when Argyle Campbell, I was his tactician in 2 Congressional Cups, and we won both of them. And our attitude was almost exactly what Dave describes. We wanted to be sure we could start better than anyone else. We wanted to be sure we could tack better than anyone else, and that our boat speed was at least as good as anyone else. And we knew we were going to win if we could do that. And happily, in 2 Congressional Cups, we were able to do that. So I think you're very wise, to listen to Dave, and I think that was very good advice. Well, any last thoughts, Ansgar? We can hardly wait to see you in a couple of weeks.
No, that's kind of all I got as well. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and I look forward to seeing you both at Balboa in a few weeks' time.
Okay, I did say I edited off. There was a little bit more chatter at the end, but he mentioned Coronado Yacht Club and San Diego Yacht Club. I said, well, notwithstanding, there's also Mission Bay Yacht Club and Southwestern Yacht Club. So I don't know with Steve Ross if you mentioned that, but yeah, Mission Bay Yacht Club's a hell of a good, especially small boat club, and Southwestern Yacht Club, a great yacht club as well. In fact, Caleb Payne, who was our last Olympic medalist in the Finn class, grew up at Southwestern Yacht Club. There is something in the water down there in San Diego, and this kid, Ansgar Jordan, is another one of all these kids we've been interviewing who has just been terrific. We'll have this gentleman with us on live via tape, Marius Westerlund from Sweden, from Göteborg. He's now sailing for the Royal Gothenburg Yacht Club. And we're taping him tomorrow night, and he will be our guest on Road to the Gov Cup on Friday's show, the 54th edition. And Stingray, you asked, the Gov Cup starts 2 weeks from today, on Tuesday the 27th. The Monday night we'll live stream. The night before we'll live stream the opening dinner, the so-called roast, where Andy introduces all the teams, and it's become a great dinner. It's 300 plus Yacht Club members there. We live stream it to across the globe, and we have thousands and thousands of views and parents and so.
Yeah, parents love it.
Grandparents and a lot of them never. We've had nice notes from people saying, "Oh, now we know what my kid does when he goes off to, or she goes off to one of these events someplace."
I know it.
And the Gov Cup, again, is the week after next down in Newport Beach. We'll be there live streaming. Steve Gruber's talking about thistles at Mission Bay Yacht Club, yes, and snipes and so on. James Bland, you may want to pull over and turn on your video if you're listening to us, because we're going to do a little feature on you in a moment. Scott and Evan Hoffman. Thank you, Steve Ross, for reminding us. Steve's down in San Diego, reminding us those were the two brothers who were hilarious in the Governor's Cup years ago. Denise Peterson's, who's on, and Afosi, her son Jeffrey, who's a contributor here to Sailing Illustrated. We've already done him on the Road to the Governor's Cup. And tonight, actually, we're going to do another recording for next Tuesday's show with David Wood. And we'll have him on next Tuesday's show and then be getting serious about Gov Cup. Merkel is so hot. Stingray's got a thing for the consulate, Chancellor Merkel.
Yes.
2005. I didn't, when I was preparing to interview Ansgar, I had to do a little research. And what else? Heard something on the radio today about a new underwater. Okay, off to Wisconsin shipwrecks. I don't know about all that. Home of the absolutely huge boot. Yeah, the Dusseldorf Boat Show. Yeah. The boot show is one of the largest boat shows in the world, from dinghies to super yachts, as Pindar is saying. By the way, Andrew, I just want to say something about Andrew, Julie. I told you this, I guess, in the pre-show. There was all this concern about containers getting to Enoshima in time for the games. And I've heard reports that Andrew and his company, you've got the mug, so you'll have to hold your mug up there. Yeah. And because I got my OK Dinghy mug. You got your Pindar coffee mug there, don't you?
Yes.
And I just want to say, Andrew, that I've heard that you and your company somehow managed to pull containers off ships at transit ports in China, and I'm not sure where else, get them onto other ships, local ships, and into Japan, given all the COVID stuff and all of the problem with shipping globally, not only COVID, but with that thing in the Suez Canal and so on. So bravo Zulu to you, Andrew Pindar, for all of that. Chicago Mac is starting this Friday and Saturday. The slow boats, the cruising boats start Friday and Saturday, so Clark Chavin's given us a link there. And we'll be doing a little feature on Friday about we talk about goats, greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. But in the Mackinac races, anybody who's done more than 50 of them is a goat. And they have a club, and have a website. And there's a gentleman who will have done, I think, 66 this year, and we'll do a little feature on him on Friday. It's either his 66th or working on 67. So good job, Pindar. Ryman is saying, I know Mainz well. They're talking about Germany and Dusseldorf and Bischofsheim and so on. That's about it. We got our last couple segments here, unless there's any pressing comments, Julie. There are. These came in. I was even going to do this segment today because just before the air, I said, I don't think we got anything worth putting. I had some crummy things at people, and then they come in over the door, under the door, in the internet. By the way, has the crackling gone away? I worked on it a little bit. Here's the first one. This applies to Julie and myself. We have our day jobs and then we have our real money. Like I was saying, the circus is just one of my careers. The real money comes from Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger.
Yes. Of course it's true.
Yeah. My real money comes from Social Security, not from TFE Live. Tensions are high in the produce section as no one dares to lick their finger. Tell you, that is, we were talking, Julie, one thing that has really changed is the grocery delivery service. You no longer go to, obviously, and I used to go run grocery shopping for you, but between the grocery stores themselves and now Amazon's Fresh for Prime members, Amazon Fresh, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you're a great fan. I have a while to go before.
I'm a great fan of that. So I'm no longer going to the to the produce section and masks and double masks and one-way streets in the aisles. Even yet still. This came from our favorite doctor. Apropos the soccer we talked about at the top of the show, the first professional soccer player to be vaccinated. Ow! It takes a dive, rolls on there. The NBA players and the basketball players in this country are doing it now.
Oh yeah, they've perfected the flop.
I tell you what, that Italian team was pretty rough. I don't know what our British friends think or our Italian friends. Michele Tognazzi and a few others I sent notes to. Luca Devoti, who's Italian but lives in Spain, and but it was a great series. Not too many flops, but there was a lot of. Tell you what, there was a rough game. Tell me if I'm wrong, you were watching. The finish line, we want to say this about, that is? It's Long Beach. That's one of the oil islands, and they had this big Olympic classes regatta there, which is a series of regattas sponsored by West Marine in this country, run by U.S. Sailing to get more Olympic class sailing going, leading up to the 2028 Olympics in Long Beach. There is James Frederick Bland, Jay Frederick, as I like to call him. That is him. He's been on the show, I think, once on a Zoom party, but he always has the most interesting eyeglasses. I think I need those, Julia, instead of these boring ones that I've got.
Yes, they are terrific.
But James is driving from Long Beach back across the country to Texas, where he's a stalwart at the Austin Yacht Club in the state capital of Austin, where they're having all sorts of political problems there today. James, go sort that out. Get those Democrats and Republicans, knock them on their heads together and get them to solve things in your great state of Texas. But also Bravo Zulu, do you know who that is? Another Finn sailor at the same regatta in his first major regatta.
I have no idea.
It's one of the Sangmeister twins. That is Peter Sangmeister.
Oh, that's Peter.
Peter is all grown up now, and he's a big boy. He's tried to sail and has been sailing at modern day where Jeffrey Peterson sailed. And in fact, John Sangmeister gives Jeffrey Peterson and the Peterson family in modern day sailing a lot of credit for bringing him out of his sailing shell and turning him into a real tough competitor. But now that he's in a class that he is, he's a big boy. He weighs 200 and something, 15 pounds. And we talk again and again and again about how we've disenfranchised big people, including big kids. He's only, tell me what, 18, 17, 18?
He
19?
looks a lot older.
He looks older, but he's a kid.
Yeah.
Well, he finished third.
Good for him.
He was in the medals at what was his first major Finn event. Here it is, the Finn going away. But he's finally found a class that he loves, and he got advice from James Bland. He got advice from Rob Coots, who's Russell Coots's brother, who sails in the class. In fact, I think Rob Coots, a member of Mission Bay Yacht Club, speaking Steve Ross of Mission Bay Yacht Club. But there is the medal, and he's getting a medal there from Chuck Clay, who's the Rear Commodore, I think, or Staff Commodore maybe, at Alamedas Bay Yacht Club, which is a co-host of the event with Long Beach Yacht Club. Bravo Zulu to all of them. Speaking of SoCal, coming up, in fact, it will have now started. The Division 8, they have 8 divisions. The slower boats started a couple hours ago now, hour and a half ago, down off of LA Yacht Club and headed to Hawaii. Did I have that great? Yeah, there's Transpac 2021 starting today, and they have staggered starts. There's starts on the day after tomorrow, and then again on Friday and Saturday. Is that right? No, on Friday. Yeah, Friday and Saturday. The 17th is the last one, so that's 4 days from now.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And that is the big boats going. And then they all end up in Hawaii and have a grand old time.
It's the best dock party.
You've been there for a few, haven't you?
Almost all of them.
Well, of late.
Since 1960.
Well, okay. Yeah, it's a great race. We'll be following it. We're going to We're going to try to get a report or two. And by the way, John Sangmeister, speaking of Sangmeisters, our Fozy, one of our big supporters of this channel and has been since the get-go. And, you know, he sank. He was the first one to sink a boat. Hopefully that'll never happen again when their OEX sank in the Transpac 2 years ago. And he's replaced that boat with another 70-footer. And he's racing. And best of luck to him and to everyone else in the Transpac, which got underway an hour and a half ago down off of L.A. Julia?
Yeah, that race also has the best fleet of volunteers.
That is a good point. That both at both ends, both in L.A. and in Honolulu. And your witness.
Please like, follow, and share.
Comments open as well, not only now, but in replay. We appreciate very much your comments. We do go read them, and we hope you will join us on, if you haven't already, a lot of you have, on patreon.com/join/sailing illustrated. Become a patron, give us a few bucks a month, and help support this viewer-supported media called TFE Live, the Julia Vatican Show.
Oh, no.
Okay, any final thoughts or comments? Julia, you're looking at all your comments there. Shout out to Chuck Clay. Rob Clay is saying, is that your brother or your dad or your son? Rob, who is that? Chuck Clay, yep, this past Commodore at ABYC. There, I'll tell you, there is a cool club. That clubhouse was designed by the late, great Chuck Kober. He was an architect. You knew Chuck up at Stanford. And Chuck was president of U.S. Sailing, my last president when I was still executive director. Matthias Collins says, I also sank a boat, Chesapeake Bay, Annapolis, Worlds 2006 and 55 to 60 knots. Oh, yikes. Sail GP this weekend in Southampton. If there's anyone keen for some foiling action, it's not the AC, it's better. Yeah, we'll talk about that on Friday's show, Jody. And thanks, Jody's done some voiceovers of some of their previous videos. Clark Chapin saying, without disparaging a great class, I offer this old joke. Why did they put bailers in the fin? Oh, it's a good joke. You know why?
No.
To let the blood out. Because, you know, it's a tough class. I mean, it is the most athletic, the most tactical. Yeah. It is a hell of a class. And I predict it'll be back in the Olympics. We are nuts for taking it out of the Olympics. It is the quintessential Olympic yacht racing class.
Why don't we sponsor a parallel race at the same time?
That class, the fin class will thrive.
Oh, yes.
It will, just like the Star, like the FD, it will continue to thrive. Anybody else? I wasn't sure to say, but the glasses almost look like they have been drawn on. Well, we'll ask James Bland, Jay Frederick, as I like to call him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sail GP is this weekend. It's the 17th, 18th in Plymouth. And we'll feature that on Friday. They'll have some racing Friday, and then we'll tune-up racing. Surely Plymouth. Did I say Portsmouth? I meant Plymouth. Or did somebody else say? It's not in Southampton, John. It's in Plymouth. Not in Portsmouth. It's in. By the way, what's going on with that team base in Portsmouth? Ineos Team UK. Anybody got a comment? Anybody got a thought on that? Thank you both for another show. Thank you, Morris Stevens. Thank you very much. John, travel safe. Tia, Pedro, I don't know if you're with us. We're going to do a Zoom watch party for our night live, whenever it is in your time down in Australia, for the Finn NACRA medal races. I can't do we'd like to do the 49er and the FX the night before, but I can't because I'll be just coming back from Gov Cup on our Sunday night. Looking forward to Sail GP. Stingray is saying it's also his birthday. Oh, Chuck Clay's birthday. Happy birthday, Chuck. Rob, give him our best. Gareth Evans is looking at it. Thank you, Julian Tom. Fantastic. I hope Matthias, thank you for but in the Soling we have 4 bailers. Yeah, Soling's a tough boat too. Bloody hell. Talk about butt hiking. And Don Logan is saying the Moscow. I assume he means Russia, not Idaho or some other Moscow. Do we have a Moscow in California?
Not that I know of.
Well, we have one up in Sonoma County, up in the Russian River area. I don't know. Cool show once again, Leslie Martin. Oh, Leslie, thanks for a great show. I guess my last live one for a while. Well, hopefully, John, we can get you on. If not live, we ought to be able to do a live interview. Check on that when you get over there. Tom Herbert Evans, Kevin Marin on the show to to talk about Markset Bot and also give some insights into the event in Plymouth. Awesome technology. Okay. Is there a video up on that, Tom Evans? Tom Herbert Evans? We'll go have a look. I saw that just before he went to air that Sail GP posted a video, and I'll try to get to that one. Oh, a Sail GP watch party. No, I don't want to mess with Sail GP watch parties. I got too much grief from them before. So, you know, the hell with them. If they don't want us to support them live and they want to do their television contracts, then that's okay. And Tom, you can tell Russell I said so. If they want to cooperate and help us help them, then, you know, that's another issue. So no Sail GP watch party, but we will do that Olympic watch party on, what did I say, our Tuesday, the 2nd?
Yeah.
Our Monday the 2nd, I guess it is, Tuesday in Tokyo. That's about it for us. We hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope to see you on Friday. And if possible, in the meantime, wherever in the world you are, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao. Bye.